Hey everyone, Jenny here. Good to see you. So this morning, I've got an interview. I want to invite on a friend of mine, Patti Jane Ashley. I want to have a talk to you about this brand new healing modality called the Pillar Codes. And I'm really excited. PJ is a colleague of mine in a wellness leadership academy, and I found out about her work, and she is coming on this morning to help us understand what this modality is about, how it came through to her, and tell us all about. I'm just going to get her on now. Tell us all about. And it's never been seen before. She's been working with it for years in Canberra, but she's not been allowed to release it till now. And we're the first ones that get to see it. So I'm just getting her on. Oh, there's already a guest in this broadcast. Goodness me, that's me, right? So let me just. All right, I'm just going to try that again.
Hi.
And
Can you hear me?
hey, there you are. Awesome.
Hello.
Good to see you. This is
Hi.
really exciting.
This
I've
is
been telling my
exciting.
friends, I've been inviting my friends, and now I'm going to put it out to my group and tell them more about it because I've been following you. I've been listening to George. I've seen some things, and I want to share it in my group and let people know because, you know, to me, old modalities are not cutting it anymore. And I feel, and I think a lot of my friends and people in the conscious world know that, something that's created at another time is created at a different level of consciousness. And a lot of us have
Yeah.
moved past or, are in a different space now. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. And shifts started happening in 2012 or from 2012 on, that there's this new rotation of consciousness coming through. And with that level of consciousness is a new dynamic. And it's taking the woo woo out of the few and allowing people in general community to be able to access into the healing dimension. And a lot of people have shifted and changed since 2012, which is when I started receiving all of this information as well.
So tell us a bit more about that because I actually don't know that story. Like I've seen things in action and I'm already convinced,
Okay.
but I actually don't know how it came about. So tell me about that.
So I was happily working in defence and government industry and working in the logistics and supply space, and then also moved into looking after multi-million dollar government contracts. I had a billion dollar portfolio, and yeah, so that was my world in corporate, in defence, government industry.
Wow.
So yeah, yeah,
Not a
little
usual
bit
background, right? It's pretty
unusual.
interesting. No.
So yeah, so I had a really big history with defence. My former husband is defence, and so our whole community and background was defence. My grandfathers were defence. My father was Navy for a while. So I'm born on Anzac Day. It's Army through and through. So
Wow.
anyway, so yeah, so ended up working in that world, and was started off looking after defence families, and then I was asked to move into the defence industry, and it just grew from there, and it took legs. And before I knew it, I was teaching people about how to. Oh, sorry, I just got a phone call coming in. Had to just teach people how to access government contracts and so on, and so it
Mm.
was leading me in a path very, very masculine and very, very corporate, but it always had, a psychic side, or a very, very highly intuitive side, and um, a mediumship side. And so what was happening is, I'd be asked to, I'm just going to close this. Was asked to actually be intuitive in board meetings, and be intuitive on contracts, and be intuitive on the client, and so on, so we could get the best outcome
Wow.
for both sides. So I didn't hide that side of my life. Actually, it enhanced that side of my life. And people would come to me with pain and go, I've got to get it, I've got to get into this meeting. Can you get rid of the pain and so on? So that was a part of what I did, but it was never ever going to be my full-time thing. And then on the 24th of January, 2012, at about 8 p.m., I was sitting down and I'd had a full day in my corporate world. I'd also had someone come over that night to ask whether or not they could have some intuitive information for their business. I was really tired, and I actually sat down, poured myself a glass of red wine, and before I could even have a sip of the red wine, literally just the room just shifted and changed, and channel came through, and it was tangible. You could feel it. You could feel the energy. The guy who had come here to have the business information, he was like a startled rabbit because you could just feel the energy was undeniable, and then my
Wow.
face changed. I went quite masculine and very very strong, very affirmative, and very forceful, and so basically, from this point forward, write down what's going to be said, and then that was my introduction to George. And basically, what George said was, like, you're slowing down the progress. You've got to get out of the way so we can deliver it directly from this point forward. And it was a
Right.
very, very peaceful, loving, but affirmative, strong energy. And there was not a single part of me that was scared or not trusting, because I do so many checks and balances about my energy, and George said that he would deliver books through me, and that he would be delivering a brand new modality for the planet because we're ready to lift into the next level of consciousness, and that level will be holistically looking at the mind, body, and soul, which we know that that's already in modalities, but this will be looking at on a universally intellectual level about how to lift these, and it would be a universal coding, and that people are ready to get out of their sabotage. They're ready to move out of their fear. They're ready to move out of the confusion state. And it was a modality based very much around the brain and the neurology and the systems coming through. And for the next, well, it's still to this day, I was channeling until 12:30 this morning, with a whole heap of new information. So it's just channeled since that time, which is what, 6.5 years, and the modality took about 3 years to download, and it could only download as much as my brain could actually accept it and keep up with it. And we're in the practice here, and we were delivering it and delivering it and delivering it until now it's just this beautiful, fine-tuned, as simplified as possible, with a whole heap of universal libraries of information behind it, but it's been fine-tuned now enough that it can be released.
Fabulous. Now tell us what
Yeah.
George stands for.
So George loves playing, and George loves acronyms and being in a good government town, because our head office is here in Canberra. We're out here.
Yeah.
So everything's an acronym, like it was in my corporate world, and it is in defence and so on. So George actually, we said on that very first night, well, what do we call you? And that came through George, and we just thought, oh, this is like a laugh. But but it took 18 months for that information to actually come through, because universe will only deliver us what the mind is capable of asking. And so it took us 18 months to say, hang on, does George actually stand for anything? And of course, instantly it came, of course it does. So it's globally enlightened, origin restoring, governing energy. Globally
Fantastic.
enlightened is the teaching of the universe. Origin restoring is the healing of the universe. And governing energy is the base communication of love. So it's the love of the universe, and that love is the
Wow.
connection. So the code is then delivered through George's name as teaching, healing, and communicating in relation to his name. And everything like that in the pillar code is all interlinked. There's meaning behind meaning behind meaning behind meaning.
Yeah, I gather that, which is why I wanted to have this do this today because I got so many questions. We probably can't answer them all today, but want to ask the things that probably anyone else is asking, or if they've got any questions, feel free to ask. I can see a few of you watching. Hi Doris, hi Erina, Renee, Jen, Linda, Leola. Awesome. So tell us a bit about then, because I know I've watched you do George as a channel like Abraham Hicks, right? This is
Yeah.
awesome wisdom, but there are also the codes. What are there's the two things, isn't there? Can you just explain the difference?
Sure. I've had a number of people say, and I feel very humbled and almost embarrassed when people say this, but it's like Esther receiving all this stunning information, and on top of that, Esther is now receiving a healing modality. So if
Aha,
you
because it's right
look at it
time.
that way,
Mm,
because it's the right time.
yeah,
So the channel is purely the vessel and the tool to receive the information so that modality can come through to the world and people can now start to learn it and be trained in it as practitioners. And there's also training it as business coaches as well, because it's two different streams. But the but the information is also there, and to answer anybody's queries, to be this constant channel to universe, for people to do Q&As all the time. We do George Q&As all the time, and
yeah.
so there is a element of, well, what about my life and what about my questions? And so the channel, as long as I'm healthy and willing and able, and as long as the information or the journey doesn't literally get to me in either a negative, it's overwhelming, or in a ego, and it becomes an ego, because the information will just stop instantly. So whilst
Mm,
I can maintain my resilience and strength and humility with it all, the information will just be, I'll just continue sharing that for the rest of my life. So people can have access to asking questions. It's really cool when you actually give George a question and you get the answer for it.
it
Um,
is.
but the other side is that on the work side of things, George is constantly delivering us, me, the team, information on how to constantly upgrade and upgrade and upgrade the modality. And that's really cool. That's really good.
Well, tell us a bit about that. Like, so, because you've been working with the codes now for a while, just within
Mm.
your own sort of practice, haven't you? Which is the pillar practice,
Yes.
in a sort of way
Yeah.
to get the information, to work with them, see what happens. Tell us a bit about some of the things you've seen. Like, what can the codes do? What do they? How do they help?
So the pillar code is now what is defined as our signature program. That's what's come through from George, from Universe. And so it's a program of care. And the practitioners use the code to get into the unconscious and find out what has happened in the past that's holding on to that block. Reveal that into the now. How is it manifesting in the now? How is it truthfully manifesting in your life and your mind and your body? And then what is it that you're truly choosing to do? What is your direction? What is your guidance? What's going to give you that passion? What's going to give you that purpose? And all of this can be sitting within the unconscious states. So we know how to go into our conscious states, and the things in our conscious we know how to clear. And we've got beautiful practitioners all around the world to support and assist us with that. The subconscious, there is a number of modalities who can access that subconscious, and that's that sticking point. And that will be where we will hold ourselves small. But the unconscious is where all that untapped vessel of information is sitting, and the codes just go straight to it. So it's a very quick, very simple, and very clear, precise
Yeah.
coding to just delve in and get the information um, gracefully, easily, lift it, link it, and have that particular person have that link going, oh, now I get it. Now I understand. Yes, I'm ready to be cleared for that. And yes, I would like you to help me with that guidance about where I'm stepping forward.
Awesome.
Mm.
And so, would you call it a healing modality?
It is a healing modality, but it almost simplifies it too much. We call it a journey of healing. So
Mm.
it is certainly a healing modality. People come in to us for a lot of body pain issues, disease, disorder, diagnosis, and come in for mental pain, um, anxiety and depression and suicidal thoughts, PTSD, and so on. So definitely it's a healing modality because people, once they have their messages, they shift up and out of that particular disease and disorder. Because the messages, as you know, if there are practitioners listening on here, we know that the message has come through the body and the body talks. And so part of the coding is showing you, well, which part of the body systems or processes are actually linked to which pillar. And then you can see the emotional state and the mind state linked into that. And so it's about utilizing that body talking system to then reverse engineer it, take it back and go, okay, well, if you're sitting in that particular pain or disorder, then we need to look at the point of origin, why, use the code to get in and access it, find out what it is and lift it. And so people just, clear from the anxiety, clear from the depressed state,
Wow,
clear from the pain and so on.
it's awesome. Can you give us a story about someone that you've worked with? Just, you know, make it, give us a story or that you can share about someone who's you
Oh
worked with.
God, I've got loads. Uh, Men with PTSD who have who they're men, they're masculine, they're fit, and who are so wrapped up in their terror that they literally can't go to work and they're emotional, but they can't tell anyone about it. And men, as we know, are more likely to actually take their lives, and they do it more quickly and more successfully than women do. And so having one particular 30-year-old whose family actually asked if he could bring in, and very very straight and very like, what's all this shit, um, who literally just very very quickly, his life just turns around. We help people with manifestations, and his life turn around, his business turn around, there's zero anxiety, moving into the fact that he just manifested it, his brand new car, and all sorts of things. We've had
Wow.
people, anxiety sticks a lot with drug addicts, drug abuse. And so we've had a lot of young men, in their 20s, who come in with these symptoms, and we go straight to it. Has there been a lot of drug substance? Because anxiety will stick to that, even though they've moved past that.
Mm.
Not choosing to work, not knowing what to do, who are now clean themselves up, no anxiety, at university, married, young children, solid citizens in the community, just staggering, stuff.
It's amazing.
We've had a woman who was measured up for a wheelchair, and she was in her late 60s, and her family said, "Don't come and visit us without your wheelchair." And she's gone through a really hard time, and she's now tracking through Japan and Croatia and like walking, tracking. She
Amazing.
threw
Yeah.
the specs for the wheelchair out, and yeah, there's just stories everywhere. It's just stories everywhere. So it's
That's
whatever
brilliant.
whatever
Thanks for
that
that's
issue is. It's about lifting the person up, not dealing with the individual symptom, but lifting the whole person out.
as a whole.
Mm,
Yeah. Okay.
mm.
I've got a couple of questions, which sort of will lead into what I wanted to ask you as well, which is because Erin is asking. So if we're looking at, because what I want to do today is talk about how people can actually, because this is the first time you will have released these codes to the public
Yeah, yeah,
outside of your
yeah,
business, right? So this is like
yeah,
amazing. I know this is really huge for
yeah,
you. It's like, wow, this is like the great grand reveal. It's amazing. So it's a good opportunity
yeah,
for
it is.
us in the conscious
It's
world. So
exciting and it's
yeah,
scary.
it is
Yeah.
really exciting. So Erin wants to know, can you get sessions online? Let's talk about how availability, like what's next for you, and we'll answer Erin's question at the same time.
To actually
So
do the program, to do
yeah,
the
so because
pillar
I know
code.
there's Yeah, because the Pillowcos are coming to, I know you're going to be in Canberra this weekend, right? It's
this
a
this
2-day
weekend.
entry code
Yeah,
training.
yeah.
Yeah.
We call it the entry code. So the pillar code is the signature program, and that's a 12-week foundational program, and we do that online. So we do have a beautiful practice in here, and people can come face to face, but more and more we're actually seeing people online for that program. So anyone can talk to us about that.
And that's a
Um,
personal
that's
like
a
for
personal
yourself
for
12-week program.
yourself.
Yep. Yep.
Yep. Um, we're coming to Sydney, or the workshops are actually called the entry code. So it's basically
The
to
entry
get
code. Yep.
the entry point um, into understanding what the program is. So that again is working on yourself. It's within a group, so it's working on yourself, but within a group. And we're going to be giving you the foundational code of the pillar code, and we're going to show you how you can actually use that for yourself, and what it links to, how it links into the body, how it links into all the things you might be stuck with in your life, and so on. Is that
So
what you
that
mean?
gives
Is
it
that the
people.
question?
Yeah, that's awesome. So because I was trying to get the distinction between which is what are the programs and what are you about to reveal, which you haven't done before, which is having these groups. So we know you've got the entry code training is in Canberra this weekend, the 28th, 29th.
Yep,
Then
and that's sold
the
out.
next weekend, is that right?
That's sold out. Yep,
Oh, it's
in
sold out.
Canberra.
Okay, sorry.
Yep. No, no,
Go
no, it's
on,
all good. If
everyone.
anyone's desperate to come, just contact me. We
You
could
have to wait for the
squeeze
next
them in.
one. They'll be in Sydney on the 4th and the 5th of August. There's some spots left in that, but it's going
Yep,
quickly. I think
yep,
the few spots left. There's Melbourne on the 11th and 12th of August, and
yes,
Merimbula on the 29th and 30th of September. That's as far as you've got so far. But if someone's out there and you want
yep.
PJ to come, get in touch because you can organise. If you want to organise to bring her over wherever you are, that would be awesome. Um, and Erin is in New Zealand. She's already, actually, I think you have a retreat
Ah,
in New
we've
Zealand,
got a
right?
retreat coming up, Erin,
Yeah.
in Arrowtown in October. I'll be doing intensive channeling and guidance and working on people's individuals or business um, strategy and journeys. Yeah, we have a lot of
Yeah.
fun at our retreats.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's another thing that's available. That Erin, and that's for you. Hey, Belinda. And I also wanted to answer a question which Maureen was asking. Because she was saying she's been working on some blocks this morning. I'm a kinesiologist and I go into deep subconscious, as I often do.
Mhm.
I struggle to express anger. I turn it in. Whoops, sorry. And, oh gosh, you try to read a question and all the little icons are in the way.
Oh
And I
yeah,
feel blocked
yeah.
with guilt and shame. It seems that it's inherited stuff in my genetics. So the question is, if I could just get rid of the icons.
Genetics can be changed. Genetics is a preconditioning, and as a preconditioning, it literally just holds an energy space that can be shifted and changed. Um, any type of guilt
Oops,
or
did we
shame, they
lose
all
you?
have
There
a.
you go.
Oh, can you hear?
Yep.
Hello, got me?
Yeah, I
Um,
gotcha. Yeah, I still got you.
so So we can look into the genetics and see where this patterning has occurred, but that patterning doesn't have to stick in your life because we are constantly evolving every moment. And oh,
Sorry,
can't hear
that's
myself.
me.
That's all
I'm trying to read the rest of Maureen's question on my phone because I can't read it. Sorry,
right.
Maureen.
That's okay.
Sorry, Patty.
And
Patty
that's
Jane.
okay. And anger,
Yeah.
if there, if there's anger there, anger will actually block you because anger is linked into the emotion around fear. And whenever there's fear, there's burden. So anger is a burdensome energy, and when you're burdened, it's not allowing you to step out of that and move you forward. So yeah, just trying to get the snippets of that question. But the other thing is, none of us can work on ourselves. I don't work on myself. Um, as practitioners, we shouldn't be working on ourselves. And George is so strong about that. He says that over and over and over, that he'll never give one person the ability to heal themselves, because then we'll be isolated and there's more chance of ego, and so we are to allow others to treat us, and look at all ways and lines and so on. And when we get into our isolation, and I've got to fix myself, and if it has to be, it's up to me, and all of those things, we actually get quite blocked, because the universal message will actually keep asking you to get into community, to form relationships, to form friendships, to expand that community, because that's where our resilience is, and that's where the culmination of all sits, when we can all bring our beautiful magic together, and bring everything in. That's when we have that guidance and the strength and the connection, so on, coming forward. So if any practitioners out there, don't think you can heal yourselves. None of us can. We have to get someone else to help us and look at why, and see what's actually going on.
Yeah, that's great. I think you might have answered, because her question was, because you just put it in separately from, because I couldn't read it. My question is, does
Right.
the spirit get blocked or restricted by our stuff?
Yeah, yeah. So the spirit can actually block us if we are heading in the wrong direction. So there's a fair bit within the coding about what's the role of the mind, what's the role of the body, and what's the role of the soul, and seeing which one is actually weakening the journey, or lessening the journey, or holding the journey back. And so we're only as strong as our weakest link. So if we're allowing our body to be the weakest link, the soul and the mind are trying to race ahead, but it can't. But if the soul is the weakest link, that's how to actually action our passion and our purpose. So if the soul is the weakest link, they're saying, well, you're not on point to your passion and purpose. You're not there. So therefore, why would I like you to go full steam ahead, hurtling off down a path that's got nothing to do with where we'd like to take you? So, it looks into, well, where's the weakest link in all of this? And let's address it. Let's have a really honest discussion with our minds, with our bodies, with our souls, and get the messages from the past, from the now, and align it to where we're choosing to take it. It just takes the
Yeah,
pressure off.
fantastic. That's really brilliant, because I know Maureen's already booked into the Sydney weekend, which is awesome. And Maureen, I think that
Yay,
I
looking
saw
forward
you
to meeting you,
yesterday,
Maureen.
and we were talking about what her purpose is and being really in alignment with that. So I think your answer is, there's something Maureen's going, yeah, okay, I've got to do what's
Okay.
really exactly what I'm here to do. That's a conversation we
There's
were having
so
yesterday.
many messages about joy, and joy, another acronym of George, joy is journey of yours. So it's about, you must have joy, because joy is a stepping stone to the journey of yours. It's no one else's journey. It's not our parents or our siblings or our friends or our children's or our neighbors or our colleagues. It's our journey. And so we must have joy on that journey. And if we have joy, we know it's the journey of yours, and that's a really strong indicator that you're on the right path. But joy
Yeah.
comes into, do you have gratitude for the joy that you did yesterday? So therefore, if joy today is, let's stop work, let's go to the pub, and let's have a headache in the morning, it could be joy for a few hours today, but tomorrow we won't see that as a joyful journey. So it's not
Interesting.
just about in the now. We have to look back at, did our yesterday selves, give us that joy that we're also enjoying today? And are our decisions that we're making today giving us the information where tomorrow we'll be thankful and grateful for this particular joy in this life, and so on, in this day, and so on. So
Yeah.
joy is multidimensional of that time frame as well.
I see there's a lot
Does
to
that make
learn.
sense?
Yeah, it
Oh,
does. It
well,
certainly does
yeah.
to me. There's so much to talk about. And this is the sort of thing we're going to get from George through you. Yeah.
Yes, it will. So the actual workshop, it will be really simple. You don't have to do any, tests or checking or anything like that. You'll actually get a little, workshop manual over it. But um, it'll be keeping it really, really simple. But I will go into the background of it. I have to go into the background of it. Um, from that, people who are choosing to do practitioner training, well, they'll get the whole, lot. They'll see it all, they'll experience it all, they'll see what all the backstory messages are, all of that side of it. But that's a more intensive training.
So who's the workshop for? Who's the entry code for? If you want to come, like, what can I expect? How do I know to put up my hand and say, yeah, that's for me?
The entry code, when we booked it, the entry code was basically for anyone who's choosing to get a little bit more clarity and alignment in their own life, and they feel like they're ready to get to the next level. The entry code's for somebody who would like to have a few new tools and skills. We're going to go through George guided, channeled guided meditations each day. It's going to be a clearing and a lifting. We're going to look at particular areas in your life that you might be stuck in or blocked in, but show you how you can actually identify the message. So it's someone who is literally curious, ready for healing, ready for transformation, like a really relaxing, meditative, fun weekend. All they're really, really, really passionate about learning more.
Yeah.
But as we've been going through it, the ones there who are just really keen to come are all the practitioners. And so it's sort of morphing a little bit that it's also there for practitioners to see, is this of interest? Would they like to learn more about it? And just put some more tools in the toolkit.
In the toolkit, yeah. And I think that's where I started, which was sort of like, I have enough tools. I just wanted to know, is this for me? Like, I wanted to find out more about it, and this is an ideal way to find out what I found out already, and to
Yeah,
go, yeah,
yeah,
like this, I want to go further, or not, wherever
yeah,
someone's at.
yeah, exactly. And the entry
Okay,
code's literally working on the individual. And I'll be doing a little bit of channel each day.
yeah, which
Yeah.
is where you get to ask personal questions, and I highly recommend. That's actually really interesting. I want to tell you, when we were in a retreat recently where you did a George channel, and before we started, I thought, well, I need to think of a topic, and I thought, what's my topic going to be? So I always ask guidance, what's my topic going to be? And the topic was, you're going to have one word that will describe you and your direction and your purpose. And I was like, oh, okay, that's my question. What's my one word? And that was exactly what George did. I didn't have to
That
ask the
was an
question.
exercise.
Yeah, it was like I got, and then I was sitting there, and then George was coming. You were doing the channel, and George was saying, okay, today we'll be doing one word that will describe your purpose. Sit and get that
Yeah.
word. And I was like, okay. That
And I've
was
never
cool.
seen George do that. George hasn't done that before. That was
That was
brand
cool.
new.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I mean. It
Yeah.
wasn't like I'd ever heard him do that before, or him, them, they, whatever.
I
Do
call
you
him
use
him.
him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I say
So
him because he's all one. He's a bit male. He's a bit stern. He can be a bit masculine energy.
yeah, that's all right. Well, it was cool anyway. So it's exciting, and the answers that were given, like to people. And I saw someone actually be healed on the spot
Yeah.
that
Yeah. There were a
day.
few people.
In the
Yeah.
yeah, there was someone who had a fall, and had fallen on her back, and was saying that she couldn't breathe, and she tried everything, and nothing had worked. And George said, "Sit up straight. You've got a rib that's misaligned," and then it
Yeah.
wasn't.
Was
I was like,
adjusted.
"Wow, that's
George
cool."
likes playing tricks and doing universal chiropractic adjustments. There was also someone else sitting on the floor that was in so much pain, and they were a physical instructor, and they were in a lot of pain, and was very quiet, didn't tell the group, but came up to me and said, "I've been in pain for about 20 years, and it is gone." It's all
Wow,
right,
I didn't know that.
and I've kept in touch with her. She's actually from across the Tasman. I kept and kept in touch, and yeah, the pain was just clear.
It's awesome. And
And
Renee's here, who was there as well. And she's saying my back improved because of that significantly.
hi,
Because I know George said
Renee.
at the time, yeah, Renee's here, and I know at the time George was saying Okay, anybody else got a problem? About half the room put up their
Yeah,
hand.
yeah. So George is
So
very good
yeah,
at
that was very cool.
George goes into people's minds, and so a lot of people will be either too shy or think, "Oh no, it's not my turn" or whatever. And it doesn't matter. George will just scan the brains, and right, I'll answer that question, I'll answer that question, I'll answer that question, and people just say, "My question was answered, but I never even asked it." Go, yep, yeah, you don't
That's what
need
I
to
mean.
ask it,
I
but
got the
it's
same
easier.
thing.
You got the same.
Mm. Yeah, I
Yeah,
was like, I
all
asked
the
a question.
time.
I had it in my head, and it was exactly the thing that I had written down. I was like, okay,
Yeah,
that's cool. Um,
that's
all
George
right,
being a smart aleck.
so well, it was cool. I thought it was fun as well. It's almost like when you're looking for that, like, does it? I don't know. Proof is not the right word, but you know what I mean. Like the
Yeah,
evidence of like,
validation.
is this?
Yeah,
Am I really connected in? Is George really talking to me? You
yeah.
know is George aware of me? We have all these questions as
Mm,
personally, and anyway,
yeah.
it was super cool. So I'm very really excited about this. So thanks everyone for coming on. Now, so as we were saying, there's Canberra, Sydney, Melbourne, and Merimbula. Oh, sorry, Canberra's already full. Forgot that. So if somebody wants to come to the entry code training, I'll put the link underneath. There's still some spots in the other locations. That's right, isn't it? Still some
Yes.
spots left for
Yeah.
Sydney, Melbourne, and Merimbula. Now, of course,
Yep.
there'll be more in the future.
Yeah, look like Brisbane will be next,
Okay,
I
awesome.
think. Mm.
And there's also the retreat. When's that? When is that?
That's the 14th to the 18th of October. Yeah, we're going to
Okay,
Millbrook Resort and Spa. Absolute stunning location. And yeah, George always pulls out a few new tricks at retreats. We have a lot of fun and a lot of networking and a lot of working on self and manifestation
that's
energy.
super cool. How can
And
how can we get the details? How can people find? Is it your website?
yeah, on the website, on our Facebook, or just call us or message me or something and ask me to send the details. But yeah, it's all all on our social media and things. And
All right. So
so
website is the Pillar Practice.
thepillarpractice.com.au,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The Pillar Practice.
and you can have a
That's
look there.
practice with an
Events are there
ICE. Practice. Yeah. Sorry.
with a C, yes,
Yeah.
ICE, the pillar practice.
thepillarpractice.com.au. And
Yep.
your people can actually see George every Wednesday live
Yeah. Yeah.
at 1 o'clock, isn't it?
It's 1 o'clock. So the yeah, so the Pillar Practice Facebook page has a group in there, and you just ask to
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 join.
join. It's called Channel Two, the number two, consciousness, and
Right. Channel to
so
consciousness with a two in the
Channel
middle.
to
Yeah.
consciousness. Yeah, and
All
that's
right.
the group. And so yeah, so I go on there and channel Wednesday at 1 o'clock, and people can ask their questions and always get new insights from George all the time.
Yeah.
And
Totally great. All
whenever
right.
there's a
So,
channel, there's always healing as well, because George's energy is mixed with healing. So there's always a healing component to it.
okay, great.
Mm.
All right. So there's the website, there's the group, and you'll find the details about booking into entry code training also on the website. Yes. I'll put the link
Yeah,
below after we're finished, so people
fabulous.
can go
Yeah,
direct. So jump in, grab a spot because Canberra's already booked out. Sydney's next on the 4th and 5th of August in Crow's Nest. So jump in, get a spot where you can. I think pretty sure it's already half full, right? There's not that
yeah,
many spots left.
it's about half full.
Actually,
Actually, all of them. As soon as
yeah,
we
might be even
put them
more.
all up, yeah, I think it's yeah. So no, I'd love to see
Yeah, and
everybody
this is the
there.
first time to actually. Yeah, this is the first time
And
to actually put this
yeah,
out. So
so this is the reveal. So when it first came through, we were told that it had to be kept under lock and key until it was got to a point where it was able to be delivered. And then sorry, I'm just getting people asking from here to join the group coming through on my phone. Yeah, I'll answer that as soon as we get off. So yeah, it was literally under lock and key, and then we were looking at it's all trademarked, and we've gone through IP Australia to look at whether or not we painted it, but it's all trademarked and so on at this point in time. And so, yeah, we had to get it into a beautiful format and structure, and now it's at the point where George finally said release. So it's like, oh, that was a bit scary, but oh, okay, release. So the entry codes are the very first time we're actually releasing it. And so it's only our team here that have signed all sorts of deeds of confidentiality and restraint, and and our awesome prackies Lockie and Ash, who have that coding. And so yeah, so the workshops, yeah, as I said, it's exciting, but it's a bit scary. I'll be revealing it, and then we'll see if anyone wants to come and be a part of our first practitioner training group at the end of this year.
Yeah,
Then
very exciting.
that we're really looking forward to, just showing people, and because George has downloaded business plans, business guidance, the whole training package. It's just like
Wow.
this little universal portable, business with a new healing modality, and practitioners are attuned. So it's an attunement process. It's not just a learning process. It's an attunement, and so yeah. So we might have a bit of fun at the workshop and show you how these attunements actually change the neurology and the brain processing and the system by these attuned practitioners.
Wow.
Mm.
I'm looking forward to that. I'm
Yay!
excited. All right.
Yeah.
So everybody, if you want to grab a spot, I'll put the link below. And thanks, PJ. It's awesome chatting with you. I hope everybody, this is an exciting thing. Grab it while you can, and help bring this through to the world. I know all of you watching are conscious leaders in wellness and other industries, and it's part of our own evolvement, isn't it? And the
Yeah,
global evolvement. So
it is. And I've got to the point where I know I can't do it now. I can't do it on my own. It has to be expanded. It'll either be expanded or it will stop, and then I would have failed in my role. So this is the exciting part, where other people now will actually take on the reins and take this out to the world. Mm.
okay, all right. I'll see you in Sydney, and I'll see
Thank
everyone
you.
else, all my other friends in Sydney. Yeah, it's super, super exciting. So, Haley Ann, good to see
Thanks,
you, and
Jane.
Belinda, everybody else. I'll see you soon, and feel free to get in touch with PJ or with me if you want some more information if you can't find it.
Beautiful. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
and thanks for the chat. It's been wonderful, and thanks guys for
Yeah,
jumping on.
that was really cool.
I'll speak
So many
soon.
questions.
So many questions.
All right.
All
Yeah. All
right.
right. Talk soon.
Thanks,
Bye.
thanks, Jane. Bye.
Thanks, everybody.